Greetings everyone, this is Ultra Mega Fan, and welcome to the channel. Even though remasters are indeed as common this generation as a common flu during a flu season. And while the popular trend of revisiting old classics spawned a handful of worthy entries, many of these remasters are little more than nostalgia-preying cash grabs. Thankfully, Mass Effect Legendary Edition lands perfectly in the former category, offering a fan-pleasing package that does so much more than slap a slightly prettier coat of paint on a 14-years-old game. And today, I am, and once again, revisiting Mass Effect the Legendary Edition, after spending over 100 hours and beating all 3 games, and hoping to explain why. I truly believe it's the best way possible to play one of the best video games that this gaming industry has to offer. And without taking more of your time, let's begin. As we have said before, during part 1 of our review, the game had a huge quality of life upgrades, like significantly reduced load times during those infamously long elevator rides, of course make for a smoother experience. But it's the numerous gameplay-enhancing tweaks that'll make your return to the Normandy more immersive. Our beloved, tank-like Mako is no longer a nightmare to drive, combat is far more responsive, and the user interface has been cleaned up to provide a more clean look and feel. And to be completely honest, if I was reviewing these games as if they were new, and I had never played them before, they would get the highest and most prestigious score that I'm capable to give. All that we loved about the original trilogy remains intact here. It still holds up well, with an intricate narrative that is compelling and only improves as the games go on. Interacting with your crew remains a real joy, and they truly feel like real characters with their own personalities and history, as by the time you're watching the credits of Mass Effect 3, not only you got to know them, but you will feel as if you are parting away from an amazing family that you was a part of just a few moments ago. And once again there was not a single conversation that I wanted to miss, and the relationships formed felt really organic and meaningful all over again. But what I admired the most was some few and yet extremely effective touches that might not seem like much to you, but made a lot of difference during my experience, like movement, squad AI, enemy behaviors, and general aiming controls have all been tweaked to bring the original Mass Effect more in line with ME2 and 3. More notably, the cover has especially been improved, ironically to the point where it feels a bit more modern than the later games, with Shepard able to automatically enter and exit cover without the press of a button. They sound like small additions to the gameplay, but for the sake of argument, try to go back and play the original Mass Effect after experiencing the Legendary Edition. Trust me, it's almost unbelievable just how much has improved for the better. And as I said before during our first thoughts, there is no denying it that time hasn't been kind to the original Mass Effect game, and it always took me a hell of a lot of effort in convincing people to play it. Given that the original Mass Effect has been given such a visual overhaul, it's to a point where the improvements to Mass Effect 2 and 3 are much less pronounced. But, of course, both of the latter games are still offered up with improved frame rates and resolution. In addition, the textures have also been improved where possible, to offer better overall image quality. But make no mistakes, the original Mass Effect is actually the star here, but to be clear, it's a testament to how strong the art direction was in both of those games. And also, the games are presented with a new launcher, with all 3 accessible from the same screen. On PC, or rather my Lenovo Legion Y540 gaming laptop, all games are installed, and it's up to you, my dear friend, to choose which one you want to play. Not just that, but also you can resume your playthrough without having to launch each game separately. Once you start the games, you notice a couple of changes to the options. And you will probably notice that the first Mass Effect has perhaps received the biggest alterations, especially the character creation, as there is no doubt that the models of the subsequent titles has changed a fair bit in the 3 years between ME1 and ME2, so the later benefits have now been adopted. There are also many other smaller, often imperceptible tweaks, like an increased number of autosave points. It's worth stressing, though, that all of these have been made to improve an existing experience, not replace it. And, as lifelong video game fan myself, there is something altogether noble in that. This collection is like a masterwork, or remastering of one of the great music albums, or this time a remastered version of the Terminator 2 was released. It doesn't go completely to town, or likely far enough for some, but the subject matter has been treated with the respect it deserves. Let's face it, you'd be hard-pushed to find better scripting or storytelling out there, even in the biggest budget, most modern games. That's where the Mass Effect trilogy's real heart lies, and you can slather on as much polish as you like, but that's what will draw you back, over and over again. And that last bit actually leads to a very important and personal point that I really want to address, and that would be Mass Effect trilogy is seriously one-of-a-kind experience that will never happen again. Just a moment ago, I said, the chances of finding another video game that handles both storytelling and world-building in a similar manner like Mass Effect is painfully slim to none, as it was a product of a specific time when the entire industry and video games writers and directors didn't give a damn about political correctness or making changes to the game's design philosophy that is somehow intended to avoid offending members of particular groups in society. And what mattered the most was adding or removing anything related to the game development process was in the grand service of the story and its characters, and I really believe that this is how some of the best video games came to be. That's besides the fact that BioWare developers were just trying to make the best video game that they were able to make, based of course on the technology that was best suited to the kind of a game that they were making. The trilogy was also developed at a time when EA had the least amount of control over BioWare, and to be completely honest, it's always a good thing in my book. I think what I want to say here is that video game companies, the like of EA Games, or Ubisoft, or Activision, and apparently even CD Projekt Red after the disastrous release of Cyberpunk 2077, are unfortunately no longer develop their games that way, not anymore I'm afraid. But the fact remains here that Mass Effect the Legendary Edition was, and still is, one of the most unique experiences that we as gamers could ever ask for. Last but not least, thank you for watching the video, and if you liked it please consider liking it, and if you didn't then don't. Subscribe to the channel as we are planning to release videos like this twice a week, and hoping to scale it up to 3 videos a week. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. I promise I'm gonna read all of them as much as humanly possible. Thanks, stay safe and I should go.